What's up, gamers? My name's Jax Foxfire, and welcome back to the channel. I really want to apologize. I've really been neglecting Buried, which is really, really poor of me because, Buried has been one of my favorite series so far on the channel, and I've just completely ignored it. Or I don't know if I've avoided it, it's just I haven't had time to record it, which is a real shame because, yeah, as I said, I really love it. But I'm back here and I really want to finally finish it, and I hope to do that tonight because there's only 5 chapters and we're up to chapter 4. So I really hope to get that done. Also, I apologize if there's any background noise. My dad's watching a movie next door. And I'd also just like to mention I finally got something to cover up all the clutter that is currently behind this curtain. Really embarrassing clutter. But anyway, I hope this goes alright because I had some issues balancing out the game audio and my voiceover audio, so we'll see how this goes, okay? Cool. Okay, so the ride up the elevator was intense. I take a series of deep breaths, doing everything I can to stay in control. Amy has gotten back to her feet, but her head is pressed against the elevator wall as she suppresses a series of sobs. I find myself trying to remember the way those creatures looked, but my mind seems to shudder at the effort. I have seen something that is an impossibility, a mockery of what I know is real. This fills me with a terror that dwarfs anything else I've felt since discovering this facility. I try to focus my mind on something else, and that's when I remember that I had just murdered Marcus. I killed Marcus, I say. The thought feeling like jumping into cold water. Have you ever killed anyone before? Amy asks. No. He was going to kill me, she says. I'm sure of it. Probably. Well, thank you, she says, but her tone is unsteady and her face unreadable. If I was in this situation, if I was in this situation, I would be like, I still can't believe I did it. Like, you just killed a person. Come on. I can't even imagine, she says, and then looks to me and asks, all of that? It really happened, right? I can only nod because I can feel some of her disbelief trying to speak to me. Trying to sneak into me, almost like it's contagious. So, I say, how did you end up here? She gives a nervous chuckle and shrugs. I used to work with the Pentagon. It was some pretty upper... I can't pronounce that word, so I'm just going to skip it. Stuff that even I can't discuss. I assume this place is even more echo... I'm guessing it's just like another word for secretive. I don't know. I said, this place isn't even on the scale, she answers. My other job was a cakewalk compared to this. Then why stay, I ask. Because the money is ridiculous. I have a 13-year-old daughter already talking about Harvard. Do the math. If it was me, I'd definitely be probing into school. That's just me, I suppose. Oh, I know. She's a force of nature. Her dad ran off when she was 3. So for a long time, it's just been her and me. Amy pauses before continuing softly. What if I never see... Her voice breaks off, the words too terrible to say, and her eyes fill with tears. The elevator comes to a stop, and the slight ding of an interrupting the moment. Amy hastily wipes her eyes, and we waste no time getting back inside the command center. It's really emotional. I'm remembering how emotional this actually is deep down. I ready the rifle, suddenly certain that there are more of those creatures waiting for us in the hallway of the 2nd level. But the way is clear, allowing us to haul ass to the command center. Once again, I find myself staring at the screen that shows my ruined worksite. Okay, Amy says, typing commands rapidly. It can't be that hard. I keep peering over my shoulders, my senses feeling as if the monsters are sneaking up on us, merely inches away. I then think of Dennis and wonder how he is faring back on level 3. Is he safe? I look back to the screens and see that Amy has finally found what she's looking for. A prompt on the screen says override of hangar doors and all level 3 locks requires clearance code. Amy types in a number with shaking fingers and the screen goes black for a moment. The moment the words override confirmed come up on the screen, Amy jumps from the chair and heads out of the room. We have to be quick, she says. We have exactly 20 minutes to open those hangar doors. I wouldn't dwell on the fact that 20 minutes, you can kind of guess that in 20 minutes the doors will lock again, probably. So let's get moving. I follow her out of the command center and back down the hallway towards the same elevator that brought us here. Amy punches the elevator button and the doors slide open. We're taking the same elevator back to the biochem room, I ask. Those creatures are still down there. It's the only way back down, she says, and the other way is blocked by those hydraulic doors we pulled. Hopefully the creatures left. Hopefully. Neither of us say anything else as we share a look of immense dread. We step back into the elevator and head back down to the biochem room on level 3. I love the audio soundtrack to this. It's so eerie and cool. As the elevator doors open, we peer out, looking to see if those creatures are still in the area, but it's all clear. When Amy looks to me, her eyes are clear and strong. Marcus wasn't entirely wrong, Amy says as we start walking back towards the hangar doors. About what? I ask. About how I'm partially to blame for this. Partially to blame for this. I don't like putting blame on other people, so I'm just gonna go with the why would you be to blame. Some of the things we do here, it's scary. We should have known that one day something like this would happen. Everyone here with the knowledge of what goes on level 3 is to blame, she says. It's a highly advanced research facility, I say, doing amazing but risky stuff. So yeah, you're partially to blame by working here, but I can understand the dedication. So why won't you tell me a bit more about what does go on in level 3, I ask. Are you familiar with the Large Hadron Collider over in Switzerland? I've heard of the phrase, but that's about it, I say. It's a powerful particle accelerator, she explains. Right now they're using it to try and create what's called dark matter. It's theorized this dark matter actually makes up the majority of the universe, but parts of the universe very different from ours. I guess it is the people at the LHC will probably create their first dark matter particle in about 2018 or 2019. Here in this facility, we are only able to create one almost 10 years ago. It was the key to our research. So does this have something to do with those things, and what does this matter do? I'm quite interested to see what this matter does. We use dark matter to assist in instantaneous transfer of a subject, but we have yet to perfect it or understand why it works. So you're saying it lets you access to different dimensions, I ask? That's the theory, she says. During the point-to-point transfer, the subjects are gone for about 3 to 6 seconds. There's no way to see or measure their presence, but they exist somewhere. From what we can tell, they exist in a kind of void. What is that place like, and have you done this with people? They don't know what the place is like, I suppose, so asking with people is important. We have sent human subjects through. Almost all of them have returned successfully. I make an involuntary grimace. Almost. There was one man, Dr. Kana, who didn't return. We don't know where. She trails off, taking a moment to collect herself. Sorry I asked, I say, feeling my mind start to bend inward again. As we continue to walk between the silos, we walk past the area where we left Marcus's body. I can barely even glance at his body, still unable to believe that I was responsible for killing him. I also don't want to look at the additional damage the monsters had caused. A pool of blood and mangled clothes are all I see through the corner of my eye. I realize that we are walking very close together between the silos, perhaps trying to create the illusion of safety. We've reached the exit connecting to the hangar doors, where Dennis hopefully still is. My guts clenches, and my heart hammers in my chest as we open the door and walk through. I lift the rifle, but at first it seems like there is nothing there waiting for us, and that's when I see the glowing, hulking shape to my left, closing in fast. Ooh, chills. The creature is about 10 feet away and coming in quickly, so I do the first thing that comes to mind. I drop to the ground, making myself a smaller target, and raise the rifle. I'm not sure if I should just unload on the bastard, or try to get choosy with my shots and weaken it, or at least slow it down. I don't feel like we can kill these things yet, and I don't know whether we can. And in any case, yes, shooting to kill is good, but it's handy to shoot to weaken, because it gives you time. My shot causes the entire milky white frame to jerk to the floor. It flounders, its ghost-like tentacles withering with rage as it cries out at me. It seems to turn and jerk away, parts of it appearing and disappearing every few feet. It moves down the hall and out of sight, and I quickly look around for the others, but there is only Amy. She looks at me where the monster went with wide eyes. Her face is pale, and I wonder if, like me, she's able to feel her mind trying to retreat. Come on, I say, let's find Dennis and get through these hangar doors. Amy glances at her watch and nods. We're already down to 6 minutes. We turn towards the hangar doors, and I'm a little disgusted with myself because the bloody scene that so shocked me before now seems mild. Amy goes to work on the computer console outside of the doors. She starts punching in keys before saying, "This is going to take some time. I thought you already unlocked it." "I did," she says, "but for this door there's still security permissions I need to hack. Marcus wouldn't know how to do this." She trails off, and I decided to let it work. Suddenly something slams into me. My feet leave the floor and I'm literally thrown across the concrete. I look up in time to see one of these creatures. It's apparently in no hurry to attack me again, focusing on Amy instead. She's not armed. I need to come up with a plan to get this thing away from her so she can focus on getting the door open. It raises one of its flickering appendages, making me certain that part of its makeup is pure light and energy. I could easily take a shot with my rifle, but my mind again goes to how much remaining ammo I have. The only other thing I can think of it, is to get it to chase me and lead it away from this room, somewhere. This is tough. I think I'm gonna distract the monster and run. Don't ask me why, it's just, yeah. "Hey," I yell, "right here, come get me. I'm the one that shot your buddy." It turns to me and I'm again faced with it staring at something that has no business in this world, in this reality. Its body gives off a short sort of glow around the central part, a voluminous cord that is branched off into 2 humps, very much like a spider. Again, I sense that this visual information is not accurate, but it's the best my simple mind can do to make a sense of this impossible creature. It starts lurching towards me and lets out a shriek of agony that makes my ears feel like they'll explode. Now that I'm sure it's coming after me, I take off running and head in the other hallway we haven't been down. I find myself in an industrial-looking area, and I'm pleased to find that the monster has followed me through. The room seems to be an assortment of old pipes and tanks. I assume some of them run further down into other areas of the facility. With the creatures on my tail, I dash into the maze of metal, hoping to lose it. It's definitely having a harder time squeezing through than I am, and it slows it down. Of course, the room's not not a cage of any kind. This thing is still heading towards me, shredding through pipes as it rages. I notice that sometimes it is breaking the steel grinders, but other times it seems like it's somehow merging or changing them. Pipes that were separate and are now connected together in a way that makes my head hurt. I finally get a good amount of distance between myself and the creature. I think it's lost my trail. I need to get back to those hangar doors. There's not much time before they close shut, but if I make a sound, the creature will be on my heels again. You can't afford the creature to be coming after you, but you can't afford to make the noise and you can't afford to miss it. But hide and escape quietly? I take care to stay silent, twisting myself through some more pipes and making my way towards the door I entered through. The creature doesn't seem to pick up on this. I see it's glowing back as I come around. It lets out a static scream that makes my insides feel like jelly. But I don't even look back. I slide quietly through the rusted obstacle course and tiptoe back through to the hangar doors. Okay, so that turned out okay. I thought that was going to go bad, to be honest. I burst back through the large room and see Amy still working on the computer terminal by the hangar doors. You okay? I ask Amy. I can clearly see her battling for control of her faculties. Steel determination wins out and she gives a grim nod. Any sign of where Dennis went, I ask, hoping she hasn't noticed his body somewhere. No, she replies. It's then that I realize I have no idea how many rounds I have remaining in the rifle. This isn't a model I'm familiar with. Outside of some deer hunting, I'm not much of an expert on firearms. Still, I am able to locate the chamber easily and see that there are 4 rounds left. Not great, but it could be worse. How are we on time? I ask her. 2 minutes. I'm going as fast as I can, she says. Amy does her best to focus on the keyboard, but there's still no sign of Dennis. Before I have time to look around, a screeching sound erupts from the other end of the room. I bring the rifle up in a shooter's stance and turn around. With the hangar doors right behind me, no signs of Dennis, and a closing window of time, I have to be confident. Yet, when 2 monsters come around the corner, my body wants to shut down. The appendages seem to jump in time and space, reaching out for a split second, independent of the body, then disappearing back to where they came from. It turns and screeches at me, its glowing tentacles snaking out of its body. My knees tremble uncontrollably. Behind me, Amy shrieks. I feel myself losing control, my mind sliding into the abyss of insanity. I pull myself back from the brink. I've got to stay in control. This is really tough because I don't know how fast they'll move towards me, and I also don't want to waste ammo. But Dennis, I don't know where Dennis is. I'm gonna turn away. I could stand there and use my last 4 shots, but what good would that do? So instead, I turn to face the hangar doors. How much longer before you can get these things? How much longer before you can open these things? Not long, she says, furiously typing into the terminal as commands flood the screen. I doubt it, I think to myself. Can I do anything to help? I ask. She doesn't answer, deep in concentration. I turn back and see a looming shape appear. The creature comes across the corner, screaming out that static-like sound. I step away from Amy in the hangar doors and towards the monster, ready to defend her. I ready my rifle, but the creature wastes no time. It makes that jerky motion towards me, and there's a sharp pain in my chest as it collides with me. Or through me. It's hard to tell. My instinct is to try and grapple or hold this thing down, but then I realize I don't even know if that will work. Try to get away. I figure I'd rather not try to learn more about the physical nature of this thing right now. I tuck and roll away from it and then stand up to face it. With a scream of defiance, I raise the rifle and put a round in its core. The shot lands dead center and the light inside it flickers almost violently. It falls back against the wall, issuing a hiss of its telltale static noise. And it jerks away and retreats, at least for now. Another terror appears out of nowhere, screaming at me with its high-pitched whine. It bounds forward, charging in its strange, spastic way. I aim the rifle, intending to take this one in the core too. I take several shots, but it's still coming at me. As it slams into me, I realize I only have one bullet left. On contact, the wind is knocked out of my lungs, and the back of my head strikes the floor. But neither of these things is as alarming as the fact that the beast is on top of me. Its exterior is like a seashell that has been pounded by the surf for so long that it has lost all its edges and ridges. But the grip it tries to capture me with is pure violence. I feel those light-soaked appendages start to wrap around me. I raise the rifle, knowing I still have one shot left. The weight of the monster is erratic. One moment I feel weightless, the other I feel like I'm going to be crushed. I pushed upward with the rifle to aim, but it is overpowering me. I'm not sure I'd be able to get off an effective shot. I see the core of its body, a spider-like shape connected to the rest of it by thin white strings of tissue. I know I'd be dead within seconds unless I manage a shot, but I don't know where to aim. This thing has already survived for so long. So we kind of know what happens when you shoot the centaur. But he says that the tentacles change and they manipulate. So I feel like if you shoot them, you're going to be wasting your time. So just shoot for the centaur. It's a bigger target anyway. The creature is seconds away from tearing into my shoulder. I have to stop it now. I grunt as I try to angle the rifle in the direction of the beast's formless core. The appendages begin tugging down on the barrel, and it's at this moment I pull the trigger, unleashing my final shot. Thank God I saved this bullet earlier. The shot aggravates it enough to win me some breathing room. I've saved my shoulder, but this thing's still alive and kicking. But when I see the creature extend its tentacles in a violent whip-like motion away from me while it makes that static screeching sound, the creature disappears into thin air and reappears a few feet from me, retreating. With a shudder and cry of desperation, I get to my feet in time to see the monster head in the direction of the biochem room. Amy looks over at me from her terminal at the hangar doors, looking petrified. I manage to help myself up with another figure nearing us, but to my relief, I realize it's a human figure. Dennis, with a gun. "You okay, boss?" he asks. But his eyes aren't on me, they're looking towards the creature, trying to understand exactly what he's just seen. About 15 minutes ago, I heard the door to that maintenance room unlock, Dennis said, pointing to the room I tried to bust my way into earlier. "Ah," Amy says. "When I did the override up in the command center, it unlocked all the small doors around here, including the maintenance room. I went back inside there and hid. And while I was waiting for you to come back, I found a massive trunk. There are a few guns in there. I grabbed this one," he says, patting his shotgun. Yes, weapons are important, but the fact that you have strength in a number is good." "Thanks, boss," he says. "Me too." "Great. Now, how is that door coming along?" I asked Amy. She makes a few final key presses and says, "Done." And the doors open with a noise of hydraulics and a whoosh of air. Dennis, Amy, and I climb up and head through the doors, moving on with nothing more than adrenaline. I see her look longingly at the maintenance room Dennis took the shotgun from. "You need to get into the hangar," Dennis says. "I'll get some more firepower." Satisfied with the plan, Amy heads through the door. We scramble inside, finally inside the hangar. Dennis approaches from behind, holding several guns and looking like a kid who grabbed an armful of Halloween candy. Amy reaches out for a 9mm with one hand. Dennis turns to me and holds out a shotgun and a handgun for me to choose. Both look deadly. The shotgun looks more powerful, but the handgun will probably be more precise. Take the handgun. Oh, why did I do that? I select the handgun and I'm comforted by the way it seems to fit perfectly in my shaky grip. There are more creatures coming, as many as a dozen. They are floating down the hall quickly, their tentacles slithering. The way their light seems to mingle together is almost beautiful. Close the door, I yell at Amy. She dashes to another terminal mounted on the inside of the hangar doors and tries desperately to close them. It's not working, she says with tears in her eyes. This terminal is disabled. Dennis looks through the open doors, readying himself to shoot the first monster that nears us. We should try to slow a few down. Should we try to slow a few down, or just run for it, he asks, his gun ready. Save your ammo, run. Sorry, I just need to see what time it is. Good idea, says Amy, and with that we turn around and sprint out onto the hangar floor. Hey guys, I feel like I need to do a little bit of explaining about what's going on with Barry right now, because you've probably noticed that I just cut us off at a continue stage. So this is a quick rundown on what I'm doing. Okay, this piece of footage was exceptionally long. It was like 2.5 hours because I was really taking my time filming this. So what I've done is at every continue point, such as Exhibit A just then, I'm going to cut it and then I'm going to make a new episode. So I'm sorry it's going to be time consuming. It's going to be really choppy. There's going to be a lot of like these little cutscene pieces of crap in it. But this is the only way that I can get it so I can upload it quicker and better. So bear with me on that. Sorry, I can't actually breathe right now. So please guys, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and hit subscribe and even turn on notifications. And please let me know if you've enjoyed Buried, because it is coming to the end of its little series. So let me know down in the comments below. Okay, bye guys, I'll see you next time.